Good morning, everybody. Dave Schmidt along with Matt Nestor and producer Tom Warner, and we continue our Pigskin preview, and we're going back to Wisconsin. And a guy that had a great year in his first year at Beloit, Turner, Diehl. They won the conference. They made it to the playoffs. And, Coach, that had to have been fun last year.
That's an understatement.
Talk about that last year. I know you took the job, as school was in between before school ended last year. But, I mean, that's a lot of changeover. But, boy, your kids just came out performing well, and you got some athletes on that team.
We do. I think everyone kind of, through the history, Turner's always had kids that were athletic and fast, and the other sports show that. In baseball, they're very successful. Basketball really has come on lately. So, when you have those other programs doing well, what's the key ingredient? What's missing on the gridiron? And realistically, it was the weight room. We were able to make that a focus when I got, there last year. I had some time, not a lot of time, but we had some time to introduce the kids to that room and what it can do. I tell them all the time, it'll never cheat you. Go in there and work hard. You're going to get an A no matter what. So as long as you're working hard. So that was the ingredient. We were a little stronger than what we've been in the past. And you know what? This year we're even stronger. So we're taking the steps in the right direction.
I was going to say, you talked about having a little bit of time last year, but you've had all of the time this year, with an off-season program and things like that. What kind of difference do you think that's going to make coming into year two now?
It's huge. On the offensive line alone, we're only going to start a senior, and we have kids on that offensive line that have increased their bench press to over 100 pounds in 1 year. Those kinds of games they're gonna show, because we do have the athleticism that's needed to be successful. It's the guys up front. We have a kid, Brandon Melkow, that last year he started as a freshman. He's a big kid. Last year he was 6'4", 315. This year he's 6'5", 275, and he's put the entire year in the weight room. He's when you have kids like that putting in the work, it's exciting.
Well, how does a change like that all happen? I mean, you have to have the kids buy in. Is that what it was? They just needed that little bit of extra push to get going?
Well, the number one thing is you got to take out the negativity 100%. Kids need to feel good about what they're doing. It's a feel-good society that we live in. The kids are no different. They need to be praised on their accomplishments and their failures. They're not, they're smart kids. They know when they fail. You don't need to preach to them that they're failures. So we take that whole concept of failure out of our language, and we talk about our successes. And that's what we lean on. We put the failures on grown men's shoulders, the coaching staff, and we write things in the practice plan without telling them, if a team rolls up 400 yards on us on the ground, you can rest assured we're going to add some tackling into the practice plan. But we don't tell them that they were bad at tackling. Kids will meet your expectations, and if you tell them they're bad at something, they'll become that. So what we do is we keep quiet, and we bite our lip and just write it into the practice plan, and we get a whole bunch of tackling done that week to improve.
When you have such a successful year in year one, what are some of the, goals or maybe thoughts around the program about where you can maybe take it in year two?
What we're going to... The talk is, in the locker room and through our camp in July, we want to take a step forward. We definitely don't want to take a step back. The stars aligned last year for us. We had some success, but we want to take a step forward. We want to progress from right where we left off last year in the playoffs against Columbus. We competed well against a team. They're going to be stacked this year. They have everyone back. But, we competed well. That was a program that was light years ahead of ours. They were a struggling program years back, and, they got about a 5-6 year head start on us, and we competed. It wasn't an easy game for them. Scores didn't come easy, and we want to take that to another level. We want to build off the success last year and really just keep our blinders on the eyes on the prize, and that's competing against the best in the state. Year in and year out by making the playoffs. Our goals are attainable. We don't set unrealistic goals. And that's where we're at right now. We're just taking, a step forward.
We're talking with Beloit Turner head football coach Derek Diehl. He's in his second year as the Trojans head coach. And, Coach, offensively, you really had some kids out there that were very talented, especially in those positions where you needed them, your running backs, your wide receivers and stuff. A lot of those kids are back, aren't they, this year?
We lost two very explosive kids last year. There's no question about that. A wide receiver, Nate Loomis, he did a lot for us. I think in the first 5 weeks he was leading the state in touchdown receptions. Mm-hmm. And then we had a fullback that was that was probably my biggest coaching mistake the first week 1 and 2 and 3 by having Justin Hansen play fullback and not tailback. You got a kid that's 6'4" and 220 pounds and runs high hurdles, but he's never played. He was up front and a receiver before, so I didn't know how he would adjust to that tailback spot until we look week 3 and week 4, and he's averaging 15 yards a carry out of the fullback spot. Well, let's flip that. And one of the best decisions I've made, making that switch to him, the tailback, and he did a great job. He was explosive. He had almost 1,000 yards last year with 7 games where he really was the primary focus. But you know what? I think we're going to be better as a core. Losing Loomis, you get a kid like that with that explosive, you kind of force feed him the ball a lot, and you see quarterbacks forcing him the ball when there's other kids that are open. I think we have a very talented receiver core that, the kids don't drop balls ever. I think we're going to be a better receiving core even though Loomis is gone. All respects to him. He's a phenomenal player. But as a core, we're going to be on the left side and the right side, it's kind of equal this year. So I like where we're at there. And in the running back spot, we're going to transition Ethan Burns, the tailback. The kid is a speedster. He's not as big as Hansen. He's only 175 pounds, but he is definitely faster. You got an edge player. Bame is back at fullback. He put on some weight. Those two kids had great baseball seasons. They're coming off baseball seasons that were very successful, so they're accustomed to being, winners. And they're going to win the day and on every play, and we're pretty confident what we see there.
We talked about building the strength. That certainly helps on the defensive side of the ball. What are you looking at over there on the defense?
We have 8 returners. We had 7 on offense returning. We have 8 returning starters coming back. And it's going to start up front. Having Tyler Burt back, he was, all conference, all area, almost all universe, all region. And he was the lineman of the year last year in the Rock South. He has had a great off season. He's got his weight right where he can be explosive and quick off the ball, yet he's as strong as an ox. Up front, we return 2 of the guys up front, and then 2 out of the 3 linebackers are back, and the entire secondary's back. So we feel pretty good about what we have on defense coming back this year.
What about special teams? I know, especially when you're in the playoffs, that can make or break your season. How things look for the Trojans this year?
Well, that was one of the things that I thought that, when I came here, that was very enticing. They already had solid special teams play. Juan Reyes is a phenomenal player, not just a kicker, punter, returner. He had all region this year or last year for just being an athlete because we play him in so many places. But, he's stronger, so I'm predicting that, we're going to be able to make that end zone on those kickoffs, and that's huge. Making teams start, and drive 80 yards rather than giving them 50 yards and green grass to score. We like that 80-yard field. So we're going to hope to get them in the end zone, or at least inside the 5 and keep them back. So I like where our special teams are. We were solid all last year, and those were a lot of those kids that, played last year on special teams are all back. They were the juniors and sophomores. They did a phenomenal job last year, and I expect them to do the same this year.
You kind of touched on some of the players in the great baseball season they've had. We've seen that at some other schools where you start getting multiple successful programs. One kind of bleeds into the other because these kids play, multiple sports and things like that. How much does that help to have a situation where maybe some kids are coming off of a great season and bringing that into your program, into your season, getting ready to come up?
Well, it's a culture is what you're doing. When you have programs that are successful, regardless of what sport and what surface we're playing on, Turner last year had, we tied for conference championship in football to start the year. Basketball was conference champs. Wrestling was conference champs. Baseball was conference champs. what you do is you promote a culture of excellence and a culture of winning, and it's important. And we have sophomores that are coming up this year that's never lost on their home field. That is ridiculous when you talk about Turner football. So, when you have that kind of mentality, that sophomore group never lost a home game. So they're brought into the winning culture and the expectations become easier when you do have that success.
We're talking to Derek Diehl, the Beloit Turner football coach. Coach, I know the Rock Valley Conference is kind of in a change. You're losing 2 schools. And when I look at certain sites, they got you all together. There's no divisions this year, or there are divisions?
No, it's a 10-team conference, and it doesn't matter what size school you are. We're going to play everybody. So
when you play Edgerton, that'll count as a conference game, the first game?
It will. Yeah, that's a big change for us. Last year coming in, it was nice to have 2 non-conference games for us to test the waters and find some success. This year it's different. Week 1 has playoff implications. But we stepped up our scrimmage. We changed our scrimmage to more competitive schools. So we feel pretty good about, being prepared week 1 for Edgerton.
What's some of the stuff the team does in the summer? We were talking last week with Edgy Tim from here in Illinois about some of the 7-on-7s and the camps and things like that. What are some of the things you guys are doing as a team and maybe some of the players are doing to kind of supplement what you guys are doing as a program at school there?
Sure. The state of Wisconsin's different than Illinois. They give us 5 contact days that can be done after school's out and before the last week in July. So you get 5 contact days, is what we call it, coach contact days, so that we get to have actually X's and O's and instruction as if it's a normal practice. So we did those. We broke those up in July every weekend. So if family was on vacation, they got at least half of them. You do it all week, and if you get 6 kids that are important upperclassmen and are on vacation that week, they're missing their contact days and they're missing an important part of football. So we spread ours out in July. We do 7-on-7 at Beloit College. They have a great venue for that. It's a mixture of Illinois schools and Wisconsin schools, and you get to see different styles. And I love seeing it. We've kind of tweaked our defense this year based off of what we saw how the Illinois teams that were playing. We liked what we saw and made some adjustments. So that was great for us. I offer the kids college invite camps. This year they went up to Northern Michigan's satellite camp in Green Bay. They get some exposure to the college atmosphere and see the change of what the state has in speed, size, athleticism, and where they match up. It gave us a lot of confidence because our kids showed up well. We did the same thing at Wisconsin Lutheran, sent them a bunch of kids there. It's basically I spend the rest of the summer just chipping away slowly and getting ready in preparation for Monday and Tuesday. So it's productive. It's a long summer, but if you want to be successful, you got to put the time in.
Well, thanks, Coach, for being on today. I plan on being in that Edgerton Beloit Turner game, so that'll be a lot of fun. They let you on the sideline if you're a reporter type guy, don't they?
Oh, if they don't, just come see me. We'll get you a sideline pass.
You're a good man, Coach. Hey, thanks so much for being on. It's always a pleasure, and we'll keep an eye on them Trojans because it was fun to watch you last year.
Thanks a lot, Dave. Thanks, Matt. Thanks for having us on.
We've been talking to Derek Diehl over Beloit Turner. You got to like him. I mean, They got a steal when they picked that guy up.
And I tell you what he's been able to do there with that program in just a year, and exciting to see what they can do here in year 2. Just the way he's been able to build up the offseason program and things like that, and the difference that's made. I think they've got the makings of a pretty good season coming up.
And, people say, why are you guys going over to Beloit? I said, well, they're on the state line, first of all, and it's quicker for me to go to Beloit Memorial than it is to Jefferson.
Right.
I mean, that's kind of weird, but it's kind of fun to see. And you worked in Wisconsin, so you enjoyed Wisconsin football.
They've definitely got a good brand of football up there, especially down in that area. I worked over in Monroe some, and that whole area, football's a big deal down there, and they've got some good teams in that kind of whole state line area, I guess you could say, from Beloit over to Monroe.
The cheesemakers.
That's right.